Hello everyone, I'd like to welcome you to my YouTube channel. This is Steve once again coming back with Blender and Unity videos for creating your own models. So I'm going to be showing you a lot of things I've been doing here. Probably one of the newer things you see here is a staircase I added in front of this building. I'm going to need to work on it some more, of course. But I just added it today, so I'm just testing it out. I can basically add the texture still to the door and fix the rest of it. But you can see I can walk up and down it. Stuff like that. So like I said, it's just for those who are watching, this is just a game in progress being built from the ground up. So you're watching everything all the way to the completion, to the end. That's my goal, to eventually get all the way to the end so you can learn what mistakes I make and hopefully not make them yourself. But let's go ahead and take a look here. You may have noticed, if you pay attention, if you've been watching my videos, that I moved the city onto another terrain. Now, it used to be over there with those buildings, but I moved it, and I also added these newer buildings right here, which still need some work, of course. And we still got the bridge back here, and you got some other buildings back here, whatnot. So I just wanted to show you that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you one of the newer things I've been working on. This I've been working on for several weeks, or for about a week now, because I get these out once a week. You guys already seen the zombies. So we'll go over here. Also the FPS rate, I fixed it a little bit, but it still needs some serious work. You can see here by my stat screen that it's only showing, I don't know if this is because you run it inside the game and it's not an executable. The FPS is running very poorly here. So we'll go back here. I need to move these sidewalks too, and I will later. We're coming upon it. You'll remember this one. You may or may not remember this when you first see it. If I come back here, you'll recognize it more. Not sure why I was stuck there. Oh, there's a little bump there. I didn't notice that. Now I'll turn around and show you. This was that building I originally built, which was that Empire States building. You can see it going all the way up there. And I've done a lot of work to it. You can see now I've added glass windows into it. And the really cool thing about it is we can walk inside, where before we couldn't. I'm going to try to make a couple buildings where you can walk inside, including this one to be Binary Security Headquarters. And then we'll also be able to walk inside of later a hospital, a store, and stuff like that as we build on. But this FPS is really weakened. Here's an entire staircase I built for this, and this is a massive staircase. Watch as I go up it here. Now zombies will come over here, but they won't be able to go up the staircase. It's got levels here. You can walk out each of the individual places. Here's the windows. You've already seen the window. If you haven't seen it, go ahead and watch the glass windows demo, and you'll learn how I created these glass windows just by watching other people's examples. So hopefully by now you guys are able to build your own staircases and learn from it. So I won't go on all these. I just wanted to show you, oh, I need to fix that thing sticking through the floor there. But yeah, you can see there's an office at the top here. So we'll get to the office and then we'll get to the cafe too. Oh, make sure I didn't fall off. I almost fell off of it. I got to put a place where I can't fall off there. I originally had a wall right there where you couldn't walk right off of it, like a railing. I was doing a lot of changes to the staircase now. Also with the staircase, like any staircase, you can't walk off it. If I go over here, I can't walk off it or anything. It's got a mesh collider on it, and I can't walk off it here, nor can I walk off it here, which is what I wanted to do to that bottom step too. I think staircases are really fun to build in Blender and then import into Unity. Oh, so here's the cafe. It needs some work, but I just basically added some vending machines. This FPS is really, really lagging. Whoops. I almost fell off. Oh, this one has a wall, so I couldn't fall off this one. Okay, cool. I probably would have fell off that otherwise. And this one needs a wall here too. And here's one more level, and then we'll be on the headquarters, which is right here. Oh, actually, nope. There's one more level up. That's right. We're getting there. And I have a couple floors for just to make it, you know, more lifelike. Of course, I need to fill those offices, and I think, oh, nope, I forgot. It was higher than I thought it was. Okay. So, it's not this one. Is there a wall there? No wall there. I need to add a wall there too. A railing. And here it is. This is just you saw these original desks. These were in the lab. I just added them, and I have this character guy. He's not interactable yet, but I think he's just an animation. Oh, actually, I didn't put his animation on, did I? Yeah, I didn't add his animation. And then we got everything here, and you can kind of see out the windows here. You should be able to walk out, and oh, I actually can walk out of them. I forgot about that, so I need to fix that. But I'm not going to go all the way back up there. I just wanted to show you. It's got glass on both sides of the building, so we'll go over here. Now, originally I didn't have glass on both sides of the building, but I decided to add it, make it look more lifelike. I want to try to get my buildings looking like this. I mean, I think it looks pretty good from a game perspective. You see so many games where people put buildings in them, but you can't walk in them or anything. They're just sitting there idle, you know. So that was my goal. And I think I also fixed this building finally over here. It always had like a side off to the side there. You can't see through it anymore like you originally could, and I added this bottom base to it. So I'm starting to build the bottom levels, like you saw that staircase and all that. So as I continue to build upon those, you'll see more. Oh, my zombie's pushing me or something. Yep, my zombies are pushing me around. Essentially, I think that's all I've really done. And, oh, and then I added these buildings in the back. I don't know if I showed these last time, but these, just some 3D models I found. I may or not told you about these before, I don't remember. But I added all the textures to the buildings. I think it looks pretty good. I'll have to fix this gigantic window in the front. I had a lot of problems in Blender, and I had to basically remove that center part. I also removed the terrain maps here in the back. I had some really big maps back here. I noticed they were slowing down the game performance. At least I thought they were, so I removed them. We still have the regular one where we can walk up this, because that's part of the mission, is to get to the top of that mountain there. But I removed, if I jump up here, you'll see there's no more maps over there. Yeah, essentially all I've really done that I can remember. I think also, like when you're recording videos, somebody mentioned that the FPS really affects the recording of the videos. So really my FPS is not quite this bad, but it's going to run much slower because I'm running Camtasia Studio. I don't think I did anything to this lab that I remember. I think it's all the same over here. I added some more reflections of the sun here, so it gives a little bit more illusion. Pretty sure it's the same. But it's starting to fill out more like a city. And I said, these are the, I'll show you these buildings, these are the ones I added. I found some models online. I went to Google Maps and I tried to look up some similar models. So you can check out Google Maps and for different kinds of design of buildings and stuff like that. I saw this one in New York, or I think it was Chicago. I didn't really work on this one yet, but it's going to have like an area where you could walk in or something like that and maybe go up inside the building. It's got these surrounding poles and stuff like that. There's no mesh gliders on it currently. But they still need a lot of textures. You can see when you import them in the Blender, that's kind of, import them from Blender, that's kind of how they look until you start texturing them and add all the normals and diffuse lighting and stuff like that. I think it's looking like a pretty good city so far, better than it did originally. So let's think about what we could do in this video. So the next thing I want to do, I don't really want to make these super long, because if I make them super long I just feel like people aren't going to sit there and watch the whole thing. I know the cars really need a lot of work, but there's really no textures, and these are not my own cars, these are just somebody else that designed these. Okay, so I was going to show you the building here in a minute. First trying to show you, here's that, I gotta stop moving this. Here's the staircase that you saw earlier. Oops, keep extruding it too much here. I'm too used to Blender, like some of the responses are different from Blender to Unity, how you move stuff around. So you can kind of see that's what it looks like. You know, we'll probably need to make this door bigger. Go in here and you can just use these little arrow things down here. They're called scaling, and you can move it up more. And maybe a little bit wider. I made it too big. Stuff like that you could just do. See how you grab stuff. If you click the mouse, you're basically grabbing stuff, and that's what I'm doing because I'm so used to Unity. When you're clicking stuff, you're grabbing it. You're supposed to hold the, I use the middle mouse wheel since I have a middle mouse, and just hold it down and you can scroll it and move it around, and then you hold the shift key in the middle mouse and you can move the whole object like that, kind of grab the whole object. So I'm just going to save this one for now. We'll come back to working on this, and I'll show you the other building as I mentioned. You can see it's now in edit mode, and you see I can click on these individually, and these are just essentially I just used subdividers and subdivided all the sections here for the windows, and I've done the same thing down here, and it's on split section. Now see, this is supposed to have center windows here, but they're not showing up for some reason, probably because of the normals or something. The tricky part was when I did all these windows. Let me show you in a quick example here. I just highlight a few of them and move them. Sure, it's not going to work there. Let me just go to wireframe mode. You can see here I had to extrude them on both sides because the normals were not showing through. So that was kind of tricky. I copied one side of these windows and I moved it to the back. That's why they're duplicate on both sides, pretty much, except for the center part, of course. And this is just a plane right here, or a cube, I think it is. Yeah, I use cubes a lot. You see, I can kind of move it out there. Oh, no, that's the staircase. Well, there's the staircase you saw earlier. At least I can show you that. Take a look at it. That was the final result. So, what you didn't see earlier is I had these top parts here, these little fans on the roof here. I didn't make them very detailed because you're not going to be jumping around on the roof anyway. Just something to kind of see it from a distance. And yeah, there's the center part. This is the actual original building. I can tell because I added these, and you can see the window is now completely one plane here, or one cube or whatever I added there. So I move it out there. Whoops. Because I didn't select the whole cube. Maybe if I just Control L, that should do it. There it is. It's a little plane there. Essentially, that's all you're doing is you're adding planes and stuff. I don't think we have a video yet where I show you how to build a building. So this video is already 20 minutes. So let's just kind of move on to that, I guess. We'll just start new here. You just start with a simple cube. It's a lot easier than you think though. Really, you're just using cubes on tops of cubes. And then what I like to do is hit the S key for scale. You can kind of make it bigger there. So now you can see the keys, most of the keys I'll be hitting there. And we're going to expand this cube a little bit. Or maybe shrink it back some. I guess we could expand it. It's going to be a building, so you want to kind of make it bigger. And when I'm moving the screen, I'm holding my middle mouse button. You're just rotating it. So those who want to know. And I don't really have a building particular in mind. But I wanted to show you what I was talking about earlier. So I'm going to switch over here to my I should just close this one window. So if I pull this over here, I'm going to switch over to Google. What I was talking about earlier, just go to Google and just type in I was going to type in New York Google Maps or something like that to take me right where I need to go. And right here, Google Maps, and it'll take you, it's defaulting my location up as I type of Manhattan, New York here, and it'll go right to Manhattan. You just click down here where it says Earth, so you can get in it and hit this arrow to narrow it down. And now you can kind of zoom in on Manhattan, which is right here. You basically use the left mouse button, click and drag it, and then you can go down in here to get to the city. And then you'll see this is the 3D view, and I'll show you how to rotate this here in a second. I'm just looking for the giant skyscrapers here. There's Central Park. I think they're over here. You just hold the, I think it's the control key, and you hold the left mouse button and you can rotate the display. Now you're seeing the 3D maps here. And we could just find a building to model after. You just use the mouse to drag it around. Maybe we could do this one. I was wanting to show you how to do an apartment complex. Those are kind of cool. And if you want to get down to the street here, you just go down here, you click on the street, and it'll open this little icon here, and you just click on it, and it'll take you right down to the street. Now you can see the apartment building right there, and we can just use the mouse to rotate it. Move it back a little bit. If you also use the middle of the mouse button, it'll rotate back to 3D view. It's supposed to go back down, but it didn't go back down. Whoops. It's a little bit more of a complex one, but it's kind of close to where we could do this glass one over here, since we're all about glass buildings. I think I'm just going to do a section of this. Just going to move this over here. You can also save this as an image, and you can add it. People actually do this in Blender. They actually go here and they open up another window. I'm going to close this first. And then you can set this to a view. UV image editor. And then you can open up files here. So I'll have to save the picture to do that though, because I don't have it saved in Google Maps. But if I wanted to save it, how far back I can go before it's going to switch to 3D view there. So as far back as I can get before it switches over. Trying to get a good angle here. That's about as good as I'm going to get it. And I just use my snipping editor down here, snipping tool. You might see this, it's built into Windows. And you just click on New here, and you can highlight this section. You just save it as an image. And there it is. So you could use it to work side by side. We could basically extrude this cube. Kind of draw this building out over here. And we'll just kind of lay them all out here. We're going to copy this cube. I'm trying to see if I'm in face mode. I don't think I am. Well, that menu didn't pop up, so I'll have to explain that. I hit the tab key there, and then I just hit the control and tab. That part's not built into the screencast. For some reason, some of the keys are still not. And then we're going to duplicate it. Why is it stuck in this? Sometimes tab doesn't go back right. I don't know why. Should go back to object mode, but it gets stuck there. So we're going to duplicate this. You're going to hit the Shift D there, and then we're going to hit the letter where we want to rotate it. So we want to duplicate it and move it on the Y. The green is the Y. You hit the Shift D, and then you hit the Y key, and now you can move it out. That should create both sides of it. And then we can create a center section. You can just do the same thing again, and just scale it down for that one. Actually, is it? This one's kind of on an angle. Look at it in 3D view here for a second. In 3D view is probably the best way to see it. You can kind of see these are longer than this, and this is shorter. Actually, I'm going to erase this one. Just hit the delete key, or the X key. Delete. And hit the arrow here so you can move the arrows again. And we're going to duplicate it on the Y again. And I don't have to keep moving it in front of the screen all the time. And we don't need this window, so we're just going to shut it. Make some more room there. That's pretty good. We can leave it right there. Okay, now I can see it much better. And the next thing to do is start creating the faces so we can create the windows and stuff like that. You just basically hit on it there, and remember it's already in face mode with the control tab key, already in face mode. For those who want to know, edges are basically when you're selecting the edges here, like this. And it selects the individual edges, and you can do stuff with those if you can kind of play with stuff on that. But we're not doing edges. And the vertexes are the corners here. You'll see the little corners, so you can kind of play with them. Actually, if you hit the arrow keys, it's easier to see this. So we select the corner there again. You can kind of move them, extrude the vertices. We're going to hit both of these. Actually, these are two separate cubes. I should have probably done a mirror modifier to have done this other side, but oh well. I think we might want to make this one a little bit bigger, maybe. I don't know. Anyway, let's try it like that. Anyways, you're going to hit the W key. So we can go to the specials menu, and we can hit subdivide at the top there. And it divides it into 4 squares, and you just go over here into your menu. If you don't see this, you can hit the T key, and it'll appear there for you. You go down to the section that says subdivide, and you'll see it starts as 1, and you can increase it. So that now we have this divided into many different squares here that we can start essentially putting windows into. Or making something similar to the windows we see in this example. Yeah, it's better to see that one. I'll rotate it out to the side so you see it better. And I'm just holding down the shift key and using the left mouse button down to move in Google Maps there. So I can kind of rotate it a little bit, up and down. I think I'm gonna get rid of this one, or I want to basically make this one larger. So that the windows don't look so square shaped. You could also do 2 of these to make more of a square, but I think we're gonna have enough room for all these if we do that. Probably should subdivide it a little bit further. I can just go back to hit Control L, and I can subdivide it by hitting the W key even more, one more time. It'll go really, really deep. Now it's got twice as many. And then I can actually turn these into windows now. Make similar to what we're seeing there. There's really only 3 across, so we probably don't need this whole thing. Maybe make them a little bit bigger. Oops. Let me count this out. 2 from this side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's a little bit uneven there. And I'm just holding the shift key and clicking the right mouse to place the faces there. Doesn't have to be perfect. Well, actually, before I do this, I forgot to do something very important. We need to highlight all this with the Control L, and we're going to set the UV map here. I'm going to open this up a little bit for a minute. You can hit the T key to get rid of that menu there once you click inside the window. And then we're going to use the UV image editor, which is currently set to this one, so it's going to make it erase this one. Just hit the little X down here and then we'll get rid of it. So we're going to go back over to here and we're going to hit the U key for unwrap and use Smart UV Project Unwrap. So we can unwrap so that we can put in our textures later. Now what I wanted to do before I got started here is over in this menu here, which you can get by hitting the oh no, actually this is a default already, never mind. So go over here, we're going to click on this little circle toward the end here, and it's the materials. And we're going to create just a simple material color for this for now. Actually, I'm going to change this to cycles. I'm so used to cycles now, I'm just going to use cycles. You're just going to select something similar to a reddish or something. It doesn't really have to be exact. We're going to add textures later, so this doesn't really matter. Something like that, kind of a brownish. And then we're going to go here and we're going to name it. We just don't want to call it material. It's bad practice just to call it material. I just say building left side or something like that. And assign it. So now that it locks into that section alone there. Now we can go back in and do these. If we didn't do this earlier, we would have been able to properly locate these windows without having to redo the whole thing. And I've learned that from experience. So I'm just going to create a few windows here, and I just got 3 over here. I think I had 2 earlier. Could probably do that many. Trying to see if I can make it even. Yeah, it's pretty good there actually. That's perfectly even. Awesome. So before we get started, we're going to go back over here. We're going to hit this plus key to create a new material for this. It'll always default like this, and you have to hit new to create the material and just call it Windows. And then of course we'll find the blue color to use and just assign it. Now you can see that it's signed directly on those windows there. So now the nice thing about it is once you assign them, you can go back and add in all the others. And anytime you hit the assign key here under the windows, make sure Windows is selected, it'll get the next one. Oops, we can also undo that by going here and hitting assign. So wherever you're using assign, it's basically assigning that section so that we can play with those areas there. And I'll show you what we're going to do here. You may or may not be catching on to this. We're going to extrude these windows so we can give our kind of a face to them and stuff like that. You could also add just a regular texture to it. Doesn't really matter. I'm using the middle mouse button to zoom in and out. There's a number of different ways you could do this. For those people probably watching, you could also use array modifiers, stuff like that, but I just kind of did it on the fly here, so I didn't really plan all that, so I'm just kind of throwing it out. So I think we'll save room for the door down here at the bottom. I think that's probably good right there. And then go back to assign here again, make sure Windows is selected. And now we have all of our windows assigned there. Now I'm just going to go and hit the undo key here for a second so I can kind of see all my windows and I don't have to reselect them. There's other ways of doing it too, but I think that looks pretty good. And then now we're going to use some special menus on the numpad key, which may or not show up here on the screencast. Let me just shrink this down a little bit so we can. Oh, before I forget, let me unwrap these. Oh, actually, they are already wrapped in mine. So I'm going to extrude them, but I'm going to change the mode. So if you're hitting the num7 key, this is the top perspective, so it's looking at directly at the top of the building there. Hit the number pad 1 key, that's the front perspective. So if I hit the middle mouse, you'll see where it's at. Basically, it just went on to the left side there. And the 3 key is in the front. The 2 key kind of shifts it. If you also hold the control key and hit the 1 key, it'll flip to the right side. Now you notice we're on the right side of the building. And the same, if you do the 7 key and hit the control, it'll flip to the bottom part. So now it's kind of, it's upside down there. So just a little bit of idea of what's going on here. So we're going to extrude this now. We're going to hit the Z key to go into wireframe mode so we can see it. We're going to go back to our side perspective here. And we're going to hit the E key and we're going to extrude on the letter. But first I'm going to hit this scale here so I can show you the arrows. You see where the arrows are there? You see the red arrow? That's the X, the green is the Y, and the blue is the Z. Make sure the 7, I'm sorry, 7, I keep hitting 7. Make sure the 1 key is selected, and you're going to hit the E key first. And immediately after you can hit the X key. So now we can start extruding these windows to go back a little bit. And you'll see I just kind of extrude them inside so that they have a little bit of a side face there to them. So now our building's kind of looking more realistic. I could probably still do array modifier. I could probably just modify this side instead of, you know, having to redo this. Let me see if I put an array modifier. Just curious to see what will happen if I add this. Oh, it adds it. Actually, that's exactly what I want, because if I move this, or if I move these keys over here, I should be able to instantly move it. That's exactly what I wanted. So I'm going to get rid of this other one here. So now we have a duplicate of the other side. So this is the Y direction I'm moving on. This is X, Y, and Z. And basically, you're just positioning it. Let me get the top view, I guess. And then we're going to move it. You can't use the arrow keys here, or it'll rotate. It'll move both of them. Just for tips, you have to move these because these are the individual selections for the modifiers. And then now we're going to move it back on the X, which is the top one here. Kind of line it up. And there we go. Now we can move it over a little bit more on the Y. Move it back. And there we go. We got two sides of a building ready. Pretty quickly, we've already built a building in 43 minutes there. Or, well, for 43 minutes of video, maybe 15 minutes of doing this or whatever. And then now we can instantly go to the top part here. We won't do the whole building because it's probably going to take too long. So I was hoping to extrude this top part. Like usually if I just click on the building here like this, you can extrude it like this. But we could probably, maybe we could just use the inset. Let's see if the inset will work. Oh, I gotta be in edit mode. Inset, so the I key. Yeah, it's doing some weird stuff with that. Let's see if I can undo this for a second. Try to get back to where it was. I'm going to save this before I lose it. Always save, because if you undo too far, sometimes you have to go back and redo all your changes. And apartment building, good enough. Section here. This is why I've done this before. So if I hit subdivided the entire cube like this one, let's do this one real quick, and hit the Control L key, which I often forget to do, and hit the W key, it'll subdivide the entire cube. I forgot to do that on this one. This is why I'm paying the price right now. So I have to likely redo this one over, but for now I wanted to show you real quickly with this building, since we'll do it with this one, how to create this center part here. And I'm just trying to create this top part of the roof. Is what all I'm trying to essentially do here. This thing's bigger than I thought it was. Let's shrink this one down and maybe move this one over a little bit more. I think that's good. So basically like this. Whoops. I'm just holding the Control key and clicking the right mouse button like that. That's what I want to do, is extrude only those sections. Hit the E key and you can kind of extrude it up. That's what I was trying to do with these sides, but I forgot to do the whole building part. But I guess that's all I'm going to show you. This video is nearly an hour. I know we didn't finish the building, but you can kind of get an idea of how to build your buildings. We built a simple apartment. I showed you the newer changes to the game. And then you could just go down here at the bottom. You could add in doors here if you wanted by clicking on it here. I just like to create separate models for them, but you could also create a door here if you wanted to, like that. You just go here and create a new material for it. Door. Maybe we can make a color for it. And just assign it like that. Now it's created one on each side because of the array modifier. Make this a little bit bigger. So yeah, that's kind of all I think I'm going to show you for now. Like I said, you can go ahead and you can create your own buildings. You can see just by extruding stuff, even though I forgot. Don't make that mistake when you take the whole building in there. Make sure that you're hitting the Control L key so that you highlight the entire cube once you have it subdivided there. And then from there you can just do everything you want and, you know, make sure that it's extruded properly. So simple for now. We'll just create a simple little cylinder. So here you have to change the vertices, but once you click away from this menu, for some reason it goes away. To kind of get rid of the number of vertices so you don't have, so it doesn't render so much. If I use that one, that's probably good enough. Push close to a circle there, and then now we can extrude it down and create like a little air conditioning vent, like you see, similar to what's on here. These vents are a little bit different though. You can see one on top of that building there. And we could create those center sections. You just basically add a cube in here. like that. And then we're just basically gonna enlarge the cube. I think you guys getting the hang of this already. Actually, this one's gonna work pretty well, I think. Then you go down here and make sure to Control L the whole thing. Make sure you have the base mode selected. And then Control L the whole thing. We'll just unwrap it while we're here. And then now we can go ahead and we can play with the top part. And then we can extrude the top part. Or actually we want to subdivide it, excuse me. Subdivide it. So we could create the little extrusion part of it. And E key to extrude it, something like that. Similar to what we have on that one. It's got a little bit of an angle there, but then we could just create another array modifier for this one to move it over here. I like this building so much I'm going to use it in my own game. So you see it moves it in the front, but remember it moves it directly in front of the other one on the X. So now we're going to move it on the Y and then move it back on the X again. Also go to top view here for the 7 key. Just click in the window so we can make sure that they're lined up correctly. Oh, pretty good actually. Because I already have it set to 0 there. And we can move it to the other side. Simple as that. Might need to move this one out a little bit more. Oops. Like that. And of course we could go back in and assign the materials and all this stuff to it again. Why does that be like a chimney? Left chimney. I always like to start it with the word that it's called. And then I use underscore a lot. And then it's created for both of them. So it's not perfect, but you can kind of see it's similar to what this building looks like. This would build, it obviously has a lot of more detail. It would take a longer video. Now I do not like to make my videos longer than an hour. I limit them down to 45 minutes, but they're usually an hour when I record them. So I'm going to leave it at that, just to kind of let you guys go ahead and play with the rest of it. And yeah, I hope you guys like this video. Please like and subscribe to this channel. Yep, so this is Steve Morrow signing off for now. Have a good day.